We have all of the historic issues that impact drug pricing and drug availability at play here. COVID is new, but these issues aren't new. We've been dealing with this for decades, right? So next slide. And in this context, one of the main areas that MSF has worked for a really long time and is continuing during the time of COVID is calling for no patents or profiteering to get in the way of our response to COVID-19. Next slide. It can't be business as usual. If the system is allowed to operate the way it normally does, we will no doubt see really high prices and an inability to get the supplies and medications we need. We've already seen that with PPE. We've already seen it with ventilators and tests, right? And what happens with upcoming treatments and vaccines. So a quick patents 101, because we talk about no patents, no profits. What does that mean? Patents are a government granted property right that allows ownership of an invention. So let's call that invention a vaccine. And in the US, that means that for 20 years, one company owns and controls that vaccine. How much is produced, where it's produced, where it gets to go, and of course, at what price. Next. And for decades, we've seen plenty of examples of how when you remove those IP barriers, those IP protections, those patent protections, multiple, generally generic producers are able to come into the market, produce a lot more product at a much lower price. So this example of HIV medicines took years of legal battles to get rid of those patent protections. And in this time of COVID, we don't have the luxury of time to make sure that there are multiple producers and low prices. Next slide. So at any time, these types of IP barriers are suboptimal. These monopolies are suboptimal. But in the time of COVID-19, they are downright irresponsible and dangerous. And as you know, through all of your great work, these protections not only exist in US law, but they are enforced and ensconced in trade agreements, right? And the US tries to export these corporate protections all around the world through agreements and then different protections like sanctions.